Good morning, children. Let's begin with a famous quote by Nelson Mandela. It always seems impossible until it is done. Children, at the beginning of any journey, the destination always seems so far away. Before doing any new kind of work would often make you feel like it is just impossible to do. But that feeling goes away once you have done it. Children, in the previous video, we have seen an experiment in which we find that some substances dissolve in water and some do not dissolve. This gives us a new term, solution. When a substance dissolves in water, a mixture of that substance and water is formed. This mixture is called the solution of that substance. Some examples of solution are ORS or oral rehydration solution and lemon sherbet. Not only this, we have many examples like this. Seawater is salty to taste because it is nothing but a solution of salt that occurs naturally. We cannot use seawater for drinking. Water of different wells may have different taste. Why is that so? Some substances from the ground dissolve in water. They give a taste to the well water. But if there is nothing dissolved in water, water has no taste. We have one more example. When we remove the lid of a soda water bottle, bubbles fizz out of it. To make soda water, a gas called carbon dioxide is dissolved in water under pressure. When the lid is removed, the pressure reduces and the gas bubbles out. Children, now we will discuss one more property of water. The things that float on water are lighter than water, and the things that sink in water are heavier than water. Children, we will see this by an experiment again. So, let's continue with the experiment.
Children, in the previous video, we have learnt about a solution. What is a solution? When a substance dissolves in water, a mixture of that substance and water is formed. This mixture is called solution of that substance. For example, ORS and lemon sherbet. Now, let's move to another experiment in which we are going to see which things float on water and which things sink in the water. Children, do you know what is meant by float? Float means to stay on the surface of a liquid or water, and sink means to settle at the bottom of a liquid. So, let's start with the experiment now. For this, we will need a glass full of water and an eraser, a pencil, a sharpener, a rubber band, a steel spoon, a plastic spoon, an iron nail, a screw, a coin, some leaves and a stone. So children, let's start with the experiment now. Let us take an eraser and see what happens with it. We will put eraser in water. What do you see, children? We see that an eraser sink in the water. You can clearly see that an eraser sink in the water. Let us take a pencil now. What do you see, children? We see that a pencil float on the water. Children, you can clearly see that a pencil is floating on the water. Let us see what happens with a sharpener now. What do you see, children? We see that a sharpener sink in the water. Children, you can see clearly a sharpener sink in the water. Next is a rubber band. Let us see. What do you see, children? We see that a rubber band float on the water. Children, you can see a rubber band is floating on the water. Let us see what happens with a steel spoon. What do you see, children? We see that a steel spoon sink in the water. You can clearly see that a steel spoon sink in the water. Now, let us see what happens with a plastic spoon. Children, what do you see? We see that a plastic spoon float on the water. Children, can you see clearly a plastic spoon is floating on the water? Children, let us take an iron nail now and see what happens. Children, an iron nail also sink in the water. You can see that an iron nail sink in the water. Let us take a screw now. We see that a screw too sink in the water. Can you see it clearly? Let us see what happens with the coin. A coin too sink in the water. We can clearly see that a coin sink in the water. Let's take leaves now and see what happens. Children, you can see that leaves float on the water. We can see that leaves are floating. Last but not the least, let us see what happens with a stone. Children, we see that a stone sink in the water. We can see that a stone sink at the bottom. So children, in this experiment, we observe that an eraser, a sharpener, a steel spoon, a stone, a coin, an iron nail and a screw sink in water, while a plastic spoon, a pencil, leaves and a rubber band float on water. So this tells us that some things float on water while some things sink in water. We can say that the things that float are lighter than water and the things that sink are heavier than water.
See you in the next video. Till then, happy learning.